There can't be a better way to celebrate this great man's birthday. How many of you have read his autobiography, attempted to read his autobiography? Yes. So only the students haven't read it. Must read it. Something very interesting happened when I was reading this autobiography. So like you, I told my younger brother, read his autobiography, it's very inspiring. So when he read about it, he said he's writing about everybody else and he doesn't write anything about him. What kind of autobiography is this? And this is the most interesting part of Dr. Kalam, and for me the most inspiring. He never put himself ahead. He put the country ahead, his team ahead. And that is a sign of a great, great leader. He was not only a leader, but to me, he was a mitochondria of education and science. If you hear him, you get energized. You are the powerhouse of energy, powerhouse of positivism. So the only personal contact I had with him, the closest I could get to him, was to receive a call from his office. And I was absolutely exhilarated to get a call from his office. Unfortunately, he wasn't online. And I had to speak to his secretary and satisfy myself. So I heard his talk at the IIM. You people must be quite young in those days, but I heard him at IIM, Ahmedabad, and I wanted to get his autograph. And I gave him a nice photograph, and then he took it away because he had no time. I said, okay, it's gone, no autograph, whatever picture also I had also went. And then in 3 weeks' time, I get a call from his office. Tell us your address, we want to send this back. I said, don't send it back. The best autograph you can give me really is, I want to spend a day with the president. He was the president then. But of course you can't. So I longed to meet him sometime, but I couldn't. And his work, his talks have been a huge influence in my life. In the way I do things also. Some of you must have experienced in the class when I teach, when I want to emphasize something, I will ask everyone to repeat like school children. Some of you must have experienced this, I don't know if you have. So repeat Kalam. Even when he would teach at the IIM, he would tell the students there to repeat after him. And those who have done this know the power of this technique. And that's innovation for me. That's how you reach out to people. So having said this about Dr. Kalam and what little I know about him, today I invoke yet another very, very great man, and in my opinion the greatest innovator in the field of medicine, our very own Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. Today we talk about Hahnemann, not just facts that you know, we all know, but I will try and attempt to go behind the scene, to go behind what was there within his head, to try and see how his brain functioned, what faculties he used. And I will try and share it with you in as short and in a nutshell. It's an extremely complicated topic. When I sat to write, last 1 week I've been doing only this. And yesterday when I finished the draft, I realized it is impossible for me to convey this to all of you. I almost gave it up. And I called a friend of mine, I said, listen to this, do you understand what I've written? And he is a pretty brainy fellow. And he said, it's better that you tell that you are not coming for the lecture if you want to go in. And then today morning I really sat down and put it into PowerPoints that something can connect with you people. It's an extremely complicated topic, but I will simplify it to the uttermost. where all of us can understand it. Okay? Do you know there are a lot of similarities between Dr. Kalam and Dr. Hahnemann? The two were separated 200 years back in time and space. Some of the similarities that are very striking that I want to bring to your fore is both came from extreme poverty. Hahnemann would translate books to earn his living. His father was a painter, an artist, and not very well to do. Where Dr. Kalam would sell bangles to make his living at a time, and his father was a boatsman. It's just the first similarity in their background. The other similarity that you will find that both of them, Hahnemann and Kalam, lived an extremely austere life. What's an austere life? With minimal self-possessions. Yet, interestingly, Dr. Kalam says, by choice, I would like to live a very austere life, but at the same time, I am very excited with the idea of abundance, with the idea of material abundance, because material abundance is a stepping stone to liberation. And on the other side, 200 years before him, Hahnemann started as a very poor man, but he died as a very, very wealthy person in Paris. So, and both of them strived for mankind. One for his country, the other for humankind. And another very interesting thing is, and I believe that is most true and relevant to your generation, is both of them had very strong role models, especially in their fathers. And their father was very clear that it is important to know what is right and wrong, very clear, distinct idea of what is right and wrong. And also the other idea that was very important to them is this idea of austerity, this idea of being driven to solve the society. 200 years apart, two men, very successful, both of them, one coming from the east and the other coming from the west, both come to the same conclusion. There is something to learn, especially for this very, very consumeristic society, where consuming would end and what it is going to teach us. So having drawn this similarity, I will now speak only about Hahnemann because I know him probably a little better and I experienced his speaking. As a child, I had told you that something very interesting. Though Hahnemann's father did not have money, he would be busy in his work, but he would ensure that he had time for Samuel. To do what? To teach him how to think. And I find it extremely interesting. How many of our parents really do that in today's generation? Hardly. And this, it almost seemed that his father was clairvoyant as to what potential this boy had. He taught him how to think. And the most important precept that he really inculcated into Hahnemann was never to accept anything in science without thoroughly and critically investigating it and testing it. And this, I believe, is one of the most important precepts that drove Hahnemann for the life. And also, what was very important, like I said, to live and act without pretense or show. Interestingly, Hahnemann knew at least 8 or 9 languages other than his mother tongue. And as a little boy, he would teach fellow students and even his seniors Greek language. So 8 or 9 languages. Remember, there is a value to this. There is a relevance to this when we talk a little later. So at his time, we need to go to his time of medicine, how medicine was practiced. There were many theories about practicing medicine. One said exactly the opposite what the other said, and the patients with the same disease would receive completely different treatment. It was what I forget the name of God. Bradford. Yeah, what Bradford writes is medicine was a complete anarchy. There was no order. Everybody was just confused, and it was as if the world was seeking answer to the problem of human health. The chaos was obvious in those days, and today things haven't changed much. Only thing, the chaos is covered with a beautiful shine. The chaos is gone even deeper. It holds relevant even today. And within this huge chaos, with so many people bombarding ideas of what was correct in medicine, Hahnemann was completely unwavered. He did not go to look for solutions for his patients to these theories. Remember this point. It is of great importance, and it depicts a big important trait of Hahnemann's personality. Today, in the field of homeopathy, why I bring this issue is we are also into a state of anarchy. We are also into a state of chaos. As students, when we are out, we have no idea, we have no direction where we want to go. Right? And each one chooses a path that is just suited to one's own ideas. And Hahnemann was an extremely brilliant student, having knowledge of languages, knowledge of chemistry, knowledge of metallurgy, knowledge of mining, and just about botany also. So many fields he knew. And this made him one of the very prominent physicians of his time. Very well respected and looked upon physician of his time. But he would say that my treatment is so terrible that it would be better if these patients were left without my treatment. And he was extremely disturbed by what he was doing. To a point that Hahnemann decided to quit practice. Quit practice from a position where he was a town physician in Germany, in the town of Groningen. And from that point, he quit practice in spite of a large family to support. He had no money, and the only way he supported his family was doing translations, because he knew so many languages so well. And just for the sake of his conscience, he decided to resign from this very lucrative position. Lot of patients, lot of money, and he had other ways to earn money also. That was through translations. And then came his famous translation, which we know as Cullen's Materia Medica in 1789. And while he was translating the article on Cinchona, China, as being one of the first drug that was proved, He said Cullen is wrong. You know the meaning of this? Cullen was supposed to be an authority in materia medica of his time. He was no ordinary physician. And he was an extremely talented chemist. So to rise up to the authority where you have no money, you have no standing in society, requires a lot of grit, a lot of courage, a lot of self-confidence. And then something interesting happened, which we all know, that while he was translating this work on cinchona, something struck him, and he decided that I am going to take this cinchona bark and see what happens. And we all know the famous cinchona experiment, right? He actually started developing the malarial fevers. Now, once he could do this, he started testing many other drugs, one after another, on himself, on his family members, on his friends. And we know that from the point that he took his cinchona, he did the cinchona experiment, he did not immediately go to the world and said, look, now I have this similia principle and this is the new system of the therapy. No, it took him 6 rigorous years in spite of abject poverty, when he had to earn bread and butter for his children, 11 that he had, none less, and with the 6 years of testing many drugs, only after that he announced to the world about the similia principle. So why am I telling you this story that you have heard since your first year? There is a reason. If you examine the personality traits of this man, you find there is unshakable belief, unshakable faith in himself, there is tremendous societal concern and the need to contribute to humankind. He is already making his life larger than his own requirements. That was the demand on him. And the ability to take risk. Today, we are scared to raise voices against what we feel and we all know is not right. And this ability of risk taking, this ability of having tremendous faith and the need to serve the society, to serve the mankind, have interestingly been traits of greatest innovators. All great innovators in history have these traits. That would include Kalam, that would include Newton, Galileo, Copernicus, you name it, and it is there. These are personality traits of the most creative people. And integrity and honesty is one of the most important traits that makes people creative. They did not yield to corrupt pressures. Dr. Kalam occupied the highest chairs in our scientific establishments, and had he exercised the choice, he would have easily been welcomed by any foreign land to serve them. But he did not do that. Okay, he would have earned many more times than what he was here in India. So this is the trait that I am talking about. Cinchona was an accident, right? He was translating and something flashed. Accident happened to all of us. Accident happened to Newton. The apple fell. Accident happened to Archimedes. You know the Archimedes story?
Yes.
He ran out naked, then he discovered the buoyancy law. Eureka. Yes, that was the Eureka moment for him. An accident happened even to Kekule. You know who's Kekule? Kekule was the one who discovered the structure of benzene. You know the ring structure?
Yes.
Kekule got a dream one night that there are 6 snakes biting each other's tails. And from that dream, it flashed on him that this is the structure of benzene. So accident happened to all of us. But what is important is how you take this accident. Hahnemann was day and night soaked in this problem of what could be a law to cure people. What would be the right system to cure mankind? He was completely soaked day in and day out with this problem. And then when this accident happened, something triggered in his brain. So from the point where this stimulus is given to the point that he decided that now I am going to do this experiment on myself takes time. And this is this incubation period. What happens during the incubation period is a very, very interesting phenomenon. All of you have experienced this, I am sure. Even when I saw the drawings yesterday, the posters that I saw, the pictures, very beautiful ones, some of them are very impressive too. So I am very convinced that all of you have originality and innovativeness. So even before you actually got down to paint and put it onto the paper, there is a period where absolutely nothing really happens, but a lot of things happen in your subconscious before the structure really becomes clear enough to put it down on paper or an action to be taken. This incubation period is a time where the brain is most active and it thinks in a very different way. This thinking is very random. It does a lot of trial and errors. Like even when you are doing the painting, I'm sure you must have scribbled things on paper and decided this is not good enough. 4 or 5 times you do it. The brain is surfing. The brain is wandering, seeking for the right answer, seeking for the best possible solution. And then there are associations that happen in your head. And then suddenly there is an idea. You say, no, suddenly an idea came to me and then I could put it on paper. So same thing happened with Hahnemann. When he was translating this 20 pages of Symphonia, his unconscious mind was grappling with the problem of discovering a method scientific enough to cure people. And this flash of idea that happened after the incubation period is what is called as divergent thinking. Little technical, but it's important. For those who are writing poetries, for those who draw, for those who paint, you will find that before you come down to the final version of your painting or your poetry, there are many subversions which are not that good. And then you chisel it out. And if I ask you, if you have done a drawing and if I ask you how did you come to this idea, you will not be able to tell me exactly the path. This is the point which is most important in innovation. And this is the point which is least addressed. And this is called divergent thinking. There are many components of divergent thinking. I am not going to get into it, except I am going to discuss only the one component of divergent thinking in Hahnemann's Synchrona experiment. This divergent thinking has a component of imagination. No, you imagine, no, first even before you put it on paper, the solution to a problem, you will imagine this going to work. No, you erase it mentally and then you think of something different. So there is a lot of intuition, lot of imagination that is happening, and lot of connections and association happening at your very unconscious level. And when all this very, very complex process happens at your subconscious level, there is one very important component called guessing ability. Your ability to guess. Many times when you are solving a puzzle, no, you have solved Rubik's Cube, which is very complicated. There are many puzzles. You keep trying, no? And then suddenly something happens. No, this is the answer. If I ask you, how do you come to it? I don't know. Something flashed in my brain. This flashing, this guessing is extremely important. Because at this point in the Syncona experiment, Hahnemann guessed that not the bitterness of Syncona esculent is saying, that is where he said he was wrong, is the reason why Syncona is curing malaria. But he guessed that it could possibly be that Syncona itself is producing this because of pure guess. And a very, very correct guess. You also must have seen some teachers when they are in the clinic, they will just guess the remedy after just few minutes. This guesswork is what is called as divergent thinking. It's a very powerful, very potent, yet completely uncalculable way of thinking. We all indulge into it. The only problem is we don't trust it. Okay? How many of us I felt that this is going to happen. I never trusted it. And that same thing happened. We don't trust our flashes. Hahnemann trusted his flash. Because what was his personality trait? Faith in himself. Conviction of what he was doing. So this guessing ability. And then the 6 years that he spent after he guessed, the first guess was right. And then 6 years of repeated testing other drugs. Not only did he test other drugs and brought down the detailed symptomatology as we know as they are proving, but what he did to confirm what he was doing, he also checked that have other people also experienced the same thing or it's only I. Very unusual, no? In this very big universe, you only will experience one thing, the rest have not experienced it. Very unusual. So he went and checked it into a lot of poisoning records. He went down every single poisoning account that was available in the library of that time. So those who have read Hahnemann's Materia Medica Pura, you will find he has included poisoning symptoms also. And from this point in time, the divergent thinking stops. And now he logically was trying to prove the similia principle. You know, in third year, fourth year organon, you have this small topic called logic,
Yes.
induction and deduction,
Yes, sir.
to which we pay no attention at all, and we don't even know what is the depth of it in the fourth year. Stewart clause, logic of homeopathy. It is a chapter, even if I read 5 times today, I still learn something new. So it's very difficult chapter. And from this point is what is called as convergent thinking or logical thinking. And logical thinking classically is very goal oriented. There is a logic that you want to follow. there is a goal that you want to achieve. Like Hahnemann wanted to make sure that what he has thought is provable, is what I am going to demonstrate to the world. And it looks for clear solution. You heard this term generalization? All of you have heard? Hello, you're sleeping.
Yes, sir.
Right from first year, you will hear generalization, generalization, generalization. And then when I ask what is generalization, you will come and tell me what is true for part is true for whole. The idea of generalization is when you recognize a pattern. And Hahnemann recognized this pattern happening with every drug. He realized that every drug which is so far specific for this particular disease is actually having the ability to create that disease. This is the pattern he recognized. This is the generalization he did. And this was his conversion thinking. And we all indulge into conversion thinking. Only problem, we don't trust it. Or we are too scared to bring it up. Right? And then what he did, once he formulated the law, he said this is the similia principle, he started applying it to his patients. What is called from general to particular, what we call as deduction. So divergent thinking, convergent thinking, and then in that you have inductive logic and deductive logic, and there are a whole lot of complex things happening in this conversion thinking which I am not going to discuss at all. Then, so what do we see when you really, where is the innovation in this? This is the originality of Hahnemann. It was pure original thinking. Something that is completely turning what was generally understood even today, something that can cause a disease, that same particular thing, cured. It is completely what we now know as counterintuitive. It is exactly the opposite, no? What do you think? This originality, this different frame of reference, to ability to think so differently, is the part of divergent thinking. And how does this originality come from? This originality, not all of us are so original like Hahnemann, right? But if you study very closely original people, these original thinkers have mastered more than one discipline. Languages, metallurgy, chemistry, botany, and you say what? So a multidisciplinary interaction, a multidisciplinary study helps you to see the same phenomena from different perspectives, completely different perspectives. And it is this flexibility in your perspective, you will come up with very original solutions. So you need to nurture, if you have the ability to draw, nurture it. If you have the ability to write a poetry, nurture it. If you have the ability and you love chemistry, go ahead with it. Do not stop, follow your impulse. You will only become a better homeopath. And to be very honest, some of the most difficult questions of homeopathy in my personal life, I have understood not from homeopathic teachers, but from engineers. Very often from engineers. Very often from literary people. So, multidisciplinary expertise and interests make people more original because their perspectives are flexible, they are not rigid in their thinking. Your ability to challenge what is predominant thought pattern. What is the predominant thought pattern today in medicine? Find the cause, treat the cause, and medicine will go, the disease will go. One is after a cause, no? But if you get into understanding the cause, and if some of you have read Park and Park, how many of you have touched Park and Park? You have read Park and Park? PSM, you have you have read PSM? If you read causation, you will find that there is no one cause for anything. There is what is called as multifactorial cause. And that is the reason why modern medicine fails completely, because there is no one cause that you need to address to. It is an impossibility. And Hahnemann completely turns it around and he says, I don't want the cause. What I want is just the disease phenomena that is there in front of me. If I get this, then I have the medicine, I will treat it. That's it. In homeopathy, if we don't have the diagnosis, we are not in a situation where we will not be able to treat patients. Right? If you don't know the cause, yet you are able to treat the patient. If you know the cause, well and good. But if you don't know the cause, it doesn't become a handicap. This is the originality of Hahnemann. This is the flexible perspective that he gave to the world. And in my opinion, it deserves a Nobel Prize for it. Another 100 more years before it gets to him. I will take a little 5 more minutes before this gets too heavy. If aphorism number 102 of his organon, he talks of epidemic diseases. In epidemic diseases, Hahnemann says the whole extent of such an epidemic disease and the totality of the symptom cannot be learned from one single patient, but is to be perfectly deduced and ascertained from suffering of several patients. What we know, genus epidemicus, right? And then in 103, he extends the idea to the chronic disease also. He says in chronic diseases are also like these acute epidemics. He says that in one patient of a chronic disease, you only see a small fraction of the total totality. And you need again to study several of these patients with a chronic disease before you make a prescription. This, in my opinion, is completely disruptive. You know what is disruptive? When I say disruptive in a positive sense, it disrupts the present day idea of the disease belonging to the individual. He understands disease as one continuous entity across bodies, across individuals. And it is this one complete body that you need to treat if you want to eliminate it from the root. Here again, we find Hahnemann's divergent thinking extremely powerful, very, very original insight, very powerful, path-breaking insight, very disruptive insight. So why am I telling you all this? Just because we have to talk on innovation, does it have any practical application? Yes. The answer is a resounding yes. Creativity can be taught. I can teach you divergent thinking. I can teach you to make associations. I can teach you to trust your intuition. And I can teach you to do logical thinking. Should creativity be nurtured? Not because everybody talks of startups, everybody talks of innovation. No. Today, the challenges that we are facing, whether it is in medicine, whether it is in business, whether it is in economics, are far more complex than what we face today. maybe 2 or 3 or 4 decades back. We really cannot wait for a Newton, we cannot wait for a Galileo to come and give us some path-breaking insights. We have to get in touch with the Newton in ourselves, with the Galileo in ourselves, and with the Hahnemann in ourselves. And believe me, all of us have it. The only idea is a little uncovering, shaving off some unnecessary things and nurturing it. That is why I am bringing this topic in front of you. And I believe that if you connect with this topic at this age, then when you are my age, you are far, far, far better than what I am. And you will make a far better contribution to mankind, to homeopathy as a science. So, very specifically, I will tell you where this will be useful in your case taking, in the way you learn materia medica, in the way you will reach remedies and create newer structures of repertories, and above all, where everyone struggles, is to create new startups in homeopathy, businesses in homeopathy. We want businesses in homeopathy. We want startup businesses doing good in homeopathy. That will take homeopathy to the bottom of the population. And then for teachers, my colleagues, if you can deep into the science of creativity, you can create educational modules that will create students who are bright minds. Having said this, I will end here, and I am so happy that one of the most important things to create these creative minds and innovators in an institution is to create a creativogenic environment. And this, for me, this whole week where you are doing something completely different, something completely original, is the first step in creating this environment. And I must completely congratulate ma'am, the university, and
Staff.
all the staff and Devanshu Bhai to get this idea and do this. It's absolutely brilliant. First step done. Now we go to the next. Thank you very much.